Muy buenas noches en México, muy buenos días en Camboya. A nombre de la buena impresión de la Apsara, Autoridad para la Protección del Sitio de Gestión de la Región de Angkor, de la Autoridad Nacional de Previa, de la Royal University of Fine Arts de Camboya, del Instituto Nacional de Historia, de Antropología e Historia y la Fundación BBVA Vancouver, les damos la más cordial bienvenida a este primer coloquio de Arqueología y Restauración México-Camboya. Mi nombre es Bertrand Lobjois, profesor asociado del Departamento de Humanidades de la Universidad de Monterrey y para la presente conferencia fungiré como moderador. Ahora cedo la palabra al maestro Fernando Aceves Humana para que nos dirija unas palabras previamente a la presentación de nuestra entista. Adelante, Fernando. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Pues antes que nada agradecer al director general de la Autoridad Nacional Apsara, Hanku, al director de la Autoridad Nacional de Prea Vigea, Koh Ker, y pues tenemos con nosotros ahorita al rector Genso Parí de la Royal University of Fine Arts que nos acompaña, y bueno, a Chao Sunkeria, que sin ella no hubiera sido posible hacer esto. Y tenemos también la presencia del doctor Divay Gupta, que también ha trabajado en Koh Ker. Pues estamos muy contentos y también quería mandarles un agradecimiento y un saludo a los compañeros de la cárcel de Etla, que han estado escuchando desde el inicio estas conferencias y me preguntan, están sorprendidos de que haya pirámides también en Camboya. Entonces un abrazo para ustedes, que son también nuestros alumnos desde hace 2 años. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Fernando, por esas palabras. Y bueno, pues vamos a proceder a la semblanza de nuestro conferencista del doctor Ea Darith desde un principio. El doctor Ea Darith nos va a presentar la conferencia Koh Ker, la capital angkoriana del siglo X. Historia, Arqueología y Conservación. Ea Darith es el subdirector del Departamento de Conservación de Monumentos y de Arqueología Preventiva dentro del Parque Angkor por la Autoridad Nacional Apsara en el Reino de Camboya. Ea Darith recibió su licenciatura en Artes por la Royal University of Fine Arts en Phnom Penh, Camboya en 1995, su maestría de la Universidad de Kioto en el 2000 y su doctorado por la Universidad de Osaka Otani en Japón 2010. Desde 2000 ha estado trabajando en la Autoridad Nacional Apsara y enseñando historia de la cerámica Khmer en la Facultad de Arqueología de la Universidad Real de Bellas Artes. También enseña la historia de Camboya, estudios Khmer y civilización mundial en la Universidad Panasasta de Camboya en Siem Reap. En 2004, Darith recibió una beca del Consejo Cultural Asiático para estudiar el manejo de artefactos desde la excavación hasta el almacenamiento en la Universidad Estatal de Arizona, las galerías Sackler y el Museo de Arqueología y Antropología de la Universidad de Pensilvania. Ha coordinado un espectro de proyectos diversos en la Autoridad Nacional Apsara y numerosos equipos internacionales. Sus principales intereses de investigación se centran entonces en la cerámica de Grecia XV. Ha excavado más de 10 hornos de Grecia, así como otros sitios con la atracción. Han brindado conferencias a nivel nacional. En el 2015 se hizo cargo de toda la gestión de la cerámica excavada en el área de Angkor como parte de la nueva iniciativa de conservación, investigación y documentación de cerámica de la autoridad para miembro visitante del Centro Sriwijaya en Singapur en 2014 y 2015 y ha codirigido investigaciones conjuntas anteriores y proyectos escolares de campo, donde ha producido un artículo en particular sobre los hornos Torchey y un libro sobre Angkor, perdón, además de realizar diferentes seminarios sobre la investigación arqueológica actual en Camboya. En el 2018, la Universidad de Cornell invitó a Ea Darith como académico y visitante para impartir un seminario colaborativo con la profesora Kaya Maria McGowan, titulado Agua, Arte y Política en el Sur y en el Sureste de Asia. También fue invitado por la Universidad de Wisconsin, la Universidad de Yale, la Universidad del Norte de Illinois, para dar una conferencia entre octubre y noviembre de 2018 sobre la Escuela de Campo e Investigación de Koh Ker, así como la gestión de sitios por la
invited by University of Wisconsin, Yale University, and University of Northern Illinois to be lectured October and November 2018 on Koh Ker's archaeological research and field school, as well as site management. We welcome Dr. Ea Darith. Buenas noches a todos. Voy a compartir mi pantalla para mi presentación de esta noche. Quiero agradecer esta invitación para participar.
And Her Excellency Madame Chao Sonkeria, who spent a lot of time and effort to do that, and also thank to the Director General of Apsara National Authority, Her Excellency Hong Pearl, and the Director General of National Authority for Prepare here, Her Excellency Kong Potika, for encouraging me to present paper about Koh Ker. And also thank you, Her Excellency Heinzapadi, for sharing me some document. So today I would like to present about the 10th century Angkorian capital city of Koh Ker, history, archaeology, conservation, and proposing at the UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is the content I'm going to talk today. History and architecture, archaeology, conservation, and proposing the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So this is the location of Cambodia and UNESCO and Mexico that located far away from each other, about 15,667 kilometers apart. So it's very far, but we share our culture. So about the prehistory in Cambodia, there are a lot of prehistorical sites. As you can see, the red triangle on the map. So the most important site that is situated between Royal University of Fine Art and Ministry of Culture and Fine Art and the French institution at Lang Spring site. They are located at the west of Cambodia. They found a very old date of the site. It approximately 71,000 years ago. So it's very old site. And many other sites later that date approximately like 25,000 and later on. So this is the prehistoric artifact that excavated from Cambodia. We can see the stone object, bronze object, silver and gold object were excavated along with the earthenware pottery. So after the 1st century, the Cambodia and Southeast Asia received influence from India. So we can call the Indianization that refer to the historical spread of Hinduism and Buddhism to Southeast Asia from approximately the 1st century of Urban Common Era. So from that time, the Southeast Asian country influenced by Indian culture. So not only India, but also Cambodia have contact with China. And the Chinese call Cambodia Funan period from approximately the 1st to 6th century. So with contact with India, we can see the statue of Vishnu from Phnom Penh around the 6th century and Buddha from Kampong Speu from 6th century. So this is to show that the Hinduism and Buddhism in Cambodia. But before that, we can see the prehistorical site. There are no sign of the Buddhism and Hinduism yet, because at the side we can see the burial object like the pottery and golden object and silver and bronze. So it's the Hindu and Buddhism. So after we got Buddhist and Hindu culture, so some temple was constructed like Asram has considered as one of the oldest sandstone stone temple, not sandstone, the stone temple in Takai province. So it shows the real complete sandstone temple, but it's very small temple. And the second you can see on the right hand, that is the Phnom Penh temple that located on the Phnom Penh mountain. So this is not a real original. The original one not constructed by Latterai like that. It was rebuilt in 11th century. Yeah, so this is contact with China during the Three Kingdom period from 220 to 8. So the Chinese call Cambodia Funan. So I would like to show you briefly about the history of Cambodia. So from the 1st to 6th century, the Chinese call Cambodia Funan. So this is the map showing about the development of the Cambodian capital from Funan. You can see the yellow area at the south of Cambodia. You can see Funan, Okai. Okai was the international trading port of the Funan. And Funan, Angkor was the capital of Funan at that time. The Angkor and Funan linked by a canal system about 90 kilometers. So after that, after the Funan collapsed, so another period come like Chen La divided into two in 7th century. The water Chen La located in the middle of Cambodia, Sambo Prikuk. Yeah, this site already nominated as the UNESCO World Heritage Site recently. And another land Chen La located at Wat Phu area. Then from the 9th to 15th century, the capital moved to Angkor area, located at northwest of Cambodia. And you can see the red is the Angkor zone. And after that, the capital moved from Angkor area to Longvai, Udong, and Phnom Penh. You can see it located between Funan and Chen La. Yeah, so this is the brief history of Cambodia. First of all, I would like to show about the Angkor Borai site. That is the first city in Southeast Asia at the time. That date approximately 400 BCE to 600. So you can see the shape of the city is not square or rectangular. It the shape like that, I cannot explain the shape. It following the landscape of that area that use some part of the river as the city area, and some other they just build the dike to protect the city. So this is the dike. You can see a lot of a palm tree on the dike, and inside the dike you can see the brick structure. That means they build the brick structure inside and cover with the soil over the bridge. So the dike is about 7-8 meter high, and the width is about 15 to 20 meter. At the side you can see a lot of pottery shirt like that. That is the earthenware that used in that area. So the Chenla period from 6th to 8th century. This is the location of the one of Chenla, water Chenla, located in the middle of Cambodia in Kampong Thom province, and another Chenla located in present-day Laos in Champasak province. So during that period, a lot of temples was built by brick, and you can see as the lack of maintenance during the civil war. So there are no no maintenance work at the site. So now we just listed as the World Heritage. So the Sambo Prekop National Authority in charge of the conservation and restoration and management of the site. So this is another land Chenla located at Champasak area. So it called Sretapura was the capital, and Lingapura, a holy linga on the top of the natural mountain. So this is the landscape of the Watu area. The temple is located on the side of the hill. So now Angkor period from 9th to 15th century. So based on the map produced by Ministry of Culture and Fine Art of Cambodia and École Française Extrême-Orient, France, so they found a lot of archaeological sites in Cambodia, especially in Siem Reap. There are more than 600 sites. Because because in Angkor period the capital was located in Angkor area, so that's why there are a lot of temples concentrated in that area. So this is the map showing about the Angkor area that located between the Great Lake of the Lesab at the south and the Kulen Mountain on the north. So Angkor area located in the middle. You can see a lot of red, a lot of yellow dots showing about the location of the archaeological site that dated from 7th to 17th century. So on Phnom Kulen, so this is the first capital of Angkor that located on Kulen Mountain. You can see the natural landscape on Kulen Mountain is very beautiful. There are waterfall, a lot of tree and sandstone, and more importantly, you can see a lot of linga were curved on the riverbed. So when the water flow over the linga and yoni, symbol of male and female, so it becomes holy water. So this holy water goes through Siem Reap River and Angkor capital and Tonle Sap Lake and go to the sea. So it means that the Cambodian ruler at that time create the holy water for the empire. So this is the natural landscape on Kulen Mountain. We can see sometime on the natural rock, the cow, the elephant, and other animal like lion. Yeah. So during the early 9th century, when the King Jayavarman II moved the capital from Chiang Mai to Angkor area, he firstly established a capital on Kulen Mountain. And at the time, there are a lot of brick temples that continue from the Chiang Mai period that used to build the temple by brick. You can see a lot of brick temple on Kulen Mountain. And especially you can see the Rongchen temple that was built on the highest spot of Kulen Mountain with 3 steps of laterai. So this is showing about the temple that dedicated to the Hindu god. It probably a place where the King Jayavarman II performed a ritual ceremony called Devaraja, that means the god king there. And then the capital moved from Kulen Mountain to Hariharalaya. Now it's called Reluf. You can see this area, the water structure and some temple located at the south. So when the king moved to that area, the king had to do 3 tasks. First, the king had to dig a water reservoir. It's called Indra Tadaka. It was built by the King Jayavarman. And the second, the king had to build a temple to dedicate to the ancestor. Like on the right hand, you can see Prako temple. There are 6 towers built on the same platform. And then after that, the king had to build his own temple. It's called a mountain temple or step pyramid temple. So this is a Bakong temple. There are 5 tier or 5 step temple. So that is the 3 tasks that the king had to do according to the inscription mentioned. And then the capital moved from Hariharalaya to Yusa Tarapura. That means the Angkor city. And then as I explained you earlier, the king had to build the reservoir. So the king Jayavarman also, when he moved the capital to Angkor area, so he dug the eastern barai, water reservoir, and then he built his own temple located on the top of mountain called Phnom Penh. You can see there are still 5-step temple. It's similar to Bakong that also have 5-step temple. And this is the eastern barai you can see on the top. So this is the Phnom Penh temple. That is the step temple or pyramid temple. So after that, the capital shift to Koh Ker from 928 to 944. Koh Ker is located about 90 kilometers northeast of Angkor area. You can see Koh Ker site. So I'm going to detail more about Koh Ker when I finish my talk briefly about the Cambodian history from early to present. So this is what Koh Ker site looks like. Not going to explain more clearly, but later I will do it. So after capital moved to Koh Ker for almost 20 years, so the capital was moved back to Angkor area again by the King Rajendravarman II. And then he constructed a temple inside the Eastern Barai water reservoir, and his own temple, his own step pyramid temple called Prairup. So this is the Prairup temple. Now we can see the construction a little bit different from Koh Ker. It only remained only a 3-step pyramid and built by laterite foundation and 5 towers on the top made of brick. So this is a Mebon temple located in the middle of the water reservoir, East Barai. It looks similar shape to Prairup, but a little bit smaller and shorter, not high like Prairup temple. So during the 11th century, the largest water reservoir in Cambodian history was built. It measures about 2.2 by 8 kilometers long. And there is a temple that built in the middle of a reservoir, as you can see here. So now you can see a lot of reservoir in Angkor area, Indratadaka, Yosatada, and another reservoir at the west. It was built by king in many generations. So this is the largest reservoir in the Cambodian history, Western Barai. And then in 12th century, we can consider as the highest, at the peak of Cambodian history and architecture. So Angkor Wat Temple was built in 12th century. It is one of the largest. It is one of the largest Hindu temple in the world at the time. You can see this is also the step of pyramid that built 3 steps, 3 tiers. So Angkor Wat is very famous temple in Cambodia. Is now Cambodia considered as the national property and appear in the Cambodian flag. So it means that this temple is very important for Cambodia, and it's very important for tourists to see during the sunrise. You can see during the equinox the sunrise above the central tower, and people enjoy to take the photo of the sunrise in the central tower of Angkor Wat in 21st May and 21st September every year. So in 13th century, the capital of Angkor Thom was built by 3 by 3 kilometers square. You can see it large city at the time, 3 by 3 kilometers. And Bayon Temple was built in the center. Yeah, this is the Bayon Temple in the middle of the Angkor Thom city. And there are 5 gates. You can see this is the one of the gate, south gate. And there are 5 gates. There are 2 gates at the east, and other have only 1 gate. So this is the Angkor Thom gate. And this is the north gate of Angkor Thom. It's very beautiful during the rainy season like that. And this is the Bayon Temple located in the middle of Angkor Thom city. And this is Taprum Temple. It's very famous for temple and nature. A lot of trees still growing on the top of the temple, and tourists really like that side and ask to keep the tree as much as possible. And after that, in the late 13th century, after the Mahayana Buddhism king passed away, so the next king believed in Hinduism, so he chased out a lot of Buddhist image on the temple. As you can see on the top of the fronton, there should be a Buddha image, and below that it should be Buddha sitting, and a sitting Buddha, and then they change to the hermit, and some change to Apsara dancing, and some cut the head of Buddha to make a shape of linga. So this is the change of religion, chase some of the statues. So after that, Cambodian and such as some Southeast Asian country changed from Hindu and Mahayana Buddhism to Theravada Buddhism. And then we can see in Angkor also influenced by that, and some temples were converted to Theravada Buddhism. Some temple like that, Preh Pali Lai in Angkor Thom. And this is the Prasat, Western Prasat Thom, the Theravada Buddhism structure in 13th, 14th century. So the structure become smaller and not built like monument like previous temple. So the concept of Theravada is impermanent. So they do not build any large structure. They build like the basement by the sandstone, and the top just light building like constructed by wood. So post-Angkor period from 15th century, the capital moved from Angkor area to the south, to Phnom Penh, Long Veng, and Udong. So this is the Angkor area on the north. You can see on the south, the yellow dot on the south, that is Long Veng and Udong, and Phnom Penh is located near each other. It's about 20 kilometers apart. So the capital moved there from 15th century until nowadays. So this is the map produced by the European who traveled to Southeast Asia. Actually, the Europe during the exploration period, they traveled to many countries in the world, like the Spain, Portugal. They travel to America, to Southeast Asia, to Australia. Yeah, so at the time they also travel to Southeast Asia from about 16th century. And in 17th century they draw the Cambodian capital on Long Veng like that. So you can see the change of the capital form, not square like Angkor Thom. The shape is following the natural landscape over there. So as you can see, this is the stupa of the king on the top of the mountain at Udong. So now the temple built for the king is not like a large monument like Angkor Wat, Angkor Thom anymore. It become a small stupa like that. Yeah. So this is Wat Phnom. You can see was the capital of Cambodia from 15th century, and then about 70 or 80 years, and then capital moved to Long Veng and Udong, and then returned to Phnom Penh again in 19th century. So you can see on the top, you can see the large stupa on the hill called Wat Phnom, and the building located at the east of stupa called Vihara. Yeah, so this is what the stupa looked like during the 15th 16th century. So now I back to Koh Ker again to talk more detail about the Koh Ker site. Okay, so the Cambodian history briefly finished. So what is about the Koh Ker? So the Koh Ker capital city was named in Sanskrit in Lingapura, and in Khmer called Chowgogi. It is the capital city of Jayavarman IV and his son Harshavarman II from 928 to 941 and 41 to 44. So the city layout at Koh Ker include the following. So mostly the concept of building the city at Koh Ker following the Trimurti of Indian Hindu concept to make the city of Koh Ker become a holy city on earth. And then the most significant temple at Koh Ker is a 35-meter tall 7-tier sandstone mountain temple dedicated to Shiva called Prasat Thom or Prang. So that is the highest pyramid in Cambodia built by 7 tier. Others just only 5 or 3, but Koh Ker 7 tier. So that is unique. And there are also a lot of large water reservoirs, especially the Rahal measure 1,200 by 600 meter, and large ancient dike running from the north to the city, about 7 kilometers, and other numerous structure and landscape such as dam, dike, reservoir, mount, terrace road, quarry, agricultural system, etc. The architecture and the artist style at Koh Ker, as well as the inscription, display larger scale and dynamism than previous period. So everything was built in Koh Ker look like designed to be bigger or more dynamic than other period. So this is the city planning and architecture. You can see the natural landscape at the side is higher at the south to the north. You can see the white color showing the high area and gradually down to red, yellow, and green and white color. So this is the natural landscape. So the ruler probably used this natural landscape to build a water reservoir called a Rahal here. And then the highest pyramid located at the northwest of the reservoir. And after that, we can see the road and the dam that connected from the north to the city. So the north, there are an ancient road that connected from Angkor to Wat Phu in Laos. So this is the natural landscape there. And on the right hand, we can see a lot of temples was built around the Rahal. So the city at Koh Ker is following the geometric plan. It showed that the Vastu plan of 9 square was applied at Koh Ker, according to Professor Gupta. So this is the Siva Shakti mandala mentioned in the Vastu Satra. Vastu Satra is the science of architecture. Yeah. So they use the science of architecture from India, Vastu Satra, to to form the city of Koh Ker. So it resembles to the planning of Koh Ker. You can see Cambodia adopt the science of architecture from India to form the holy city in Koh Ker. So this is the plan of Prasat Thom complex to show the Vastu Sastra concept. As you can see, this is the original plan. There are a step pyramid and the Prasat room, the temple, they are dedicated to the ancestor, and then probably for also the king too, because there are a statue of the king inside this temple too, and surrounded by moat. And at the east, we can see there are two temples like that. So with Professor Gupta draw the line, and he found that this layout of the monument at Koh Ker is following the Vastu Sastra concept, as you can see here. The head and the body just fit with the landscape at Koh Ker. So this is the 3D view showing the interaction of Prasat Thom and Linga terraces. You can see Prasat Thom over there, and this is the 5 Linga terrace, and this is probably a holy pond for them. So this is Prasat and Balang Chung with the colossal linga. So there are 5 linga on the eastern part of the Prasat Thom, and each linga curved with linga and yoni with monolith stone, and covered with the temple, and the temple probably covered with roof tile. So this is the old picture of Koh Ker that took by Pak Mong Che mission in 1934, the Echo from Sam Orient, and to see the destruction or a natural situation at that time. So this is the landscape of Koh Ker and its environment. As I mentioned early in the Angkorian king, the king had to build a reservoir. So this is a reservoir at Koh Ker called Rahal. And then the king had to build the temple dedicated to ancestor, that is Prasat room here. And then the king had to build his own temple, that is the step pyramid. So this is the step pyramid. So it is complete to show that Koh Ker was the capital city of Cambodia at that time. If there are no step temple and a Prasat room, it probably not showing the capital of a king at all. So this is the complete to show that the capital. Yeah, so this is the Prasat Thom, the step pyramid from the side during the rainy season. And this is also very important to landscape the temple by the triangle alignment of like Prasat Kraham at the northeast, dedicated to Shiva, and Prasat Chen at the southwest, dedicated to Vishnu, and Prasat Banteay Pir Choan, located at the east, dedicated to Brahma. So this is the Trimurti concept were used at the site. So to make the site become a holy site. Yeah, this is Prasat Kraham that how the large Siva statue about 6 meters tall, and with other 4 gods around the Siva. And the Siva was destroyed. You can see now we try to reconstruct the Siva statue again. So this is the Banteay Pir Choan temple that dedicated to Brahma. You can see this Brahma god that you to display in this temple. And this is Prasat Chen, dedicated to Vishnu in 10th century. But normally the Vishnu statue will disappear, especially the head. We can see only the body or the torso of the Vishnu in front of the central tower. Yeah. So Koh Ker is very famous, especially Prasat Chen that dedicated to Vishnu. So there are a lot of story related to Vishnu, especially the East Gate and South Gate depict the Ramayana and Mahabharata. You can see the trace of the basement of the statue that's in situ, located in the West Gate. And the statue was were on sale at the time in Sotheby in US. So Cambodian government claimed back. So we excavate the statue from the site and transport by truck to Siem Reap and then to Phnom Penh National Museum to connect with the body that repatriated from abroad. So this is the image showing that the Cambodia higher officer like His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Vibol Panya Sok-an and the Minister of Culture and Fine Art Lok Chom Tiew Pương Sakana that received the statue from abroad. So this is a very famous statue from the West Gate of Prasat Chen that they put together in 3D. You can see the Bhima and Duryodhana fighting, and many other look around them. So Koh Ker is very famous with the large sculpture. You can see this is the very large Garuda in the Khmer art. That is the largest Garuda. Yeah. And then you can see the fighting between Valin and Sugriva, the 2 monkeys. And at the side also there are famous statue called Siva Skanda from Prasat Kraham here in the statue in private collection, but later returned to Cambodia recently. This is other temple called Prasat Prang. There are 3 towers on the same platform and 2 library. That's why 5 we call Prang. Prang means 5. It's still natural like that. And this is on Dong Plain, probably a royal water reservoir. We can see this kind of reservoir that water always accumulated inside the pool, the pond. So normally the structure located within the royal palace compound. Yeah. And this is about the size of the font size of the character at Koh Ker and Angkor. As I mentioned earlier, everything in Koh Ker displayed in large size. So even the sculpture, architecture, and the script also display in large size. It double size of the font size in Angkor. So this is the water management, the hydraulic system at Koh Ker. You can see a lot of water structure, including Rahal and pond and dike of the reservoir. That is in the nose area is the large area of the reservoir. So this is Rahal. Yeah, Rahal, that is the holy water in the capital area. So now talk about the archaeology. Yeah, so this is archaeological team from many countries, from Southeast Asia, from America, from New Zealand, from Australia, also join this excavation with us. So this is the archaeology. So in 2015 and 2016, Apsara National Authority and National Authority for Prayer, as well as the Institute of Southeast Asian Study in Singapore, we organized a field school for researchers from Southeast Asia to study the archaeology and history and how to make a presentation. So the field school divided into two parts. Part one in Cambodia to study the history of Cambodia from Phnom Penh, Angkor period and post-Angkor period, and conduct an excavation at Koh Ker site. And then participants have to go to Singapore 1 week to prepare documentation, prepare slide report for making a public presentation to the researcher in Institute of Southeast Asian Study, as well as the concerned ambassador of those countries in Singapore. So it was very successful international field school. So this is the field school activity. We conduct the excavation at site. So the member of Apsara National Authority and National Authority for Prayer here lead the excavation, lead the training excavation. So this is the area that we conduct the field school. The area located at the west of Rahal and south of Prasat Thom in the red area. So if you look at the right hand, you can see on the top Prasat Thom complex, and then you can see at the south KK1 mean Koh Ker site number 1. So at the south of the Prasat Thom, we see a lot of based on the LiDAR map, you can see a lot of depression. It's a small pond. You can see alignment of small pond and mound. So we excavated on the mount KK1, you can see here, KK2 here, and KK3 here, and KK4 is located in the eastern part of the possible royal palace at Koh Ker. So this is the KK3. We would like to know if there are any water flowing from the south to the north to fill the moat of the Prasat room. Because during the rainy season, we can see water flow from here to Prasat room. And then we conduct an excavation to see that. So this is the cross-section of the possible water structure. So we found the lateral embankment both sides. So we think that probably there water flow from south to north to fill the moat of the Prasat room. So the leader of the excavation of this trend is Mr. Team. So this is the two archaeology from Singapore and from Indonesia that they collaborate together to prepare slide for the presentation after the field school. So this is the artifact that we record at the site as well as the field school participants. Yeah, so they have drawing and photographing and record of the artifact at the site. So after they make presentation, they in 2015 and 16 they got a certificate from Apsara Authority and Institute of Southeast Asian Study. So it was very successful field school at the time. So this is the excavation of the location KK1 and KK2. So we divided the trend by square like that. Yeah, the square like that. And then we found the oven feature probably at the KK2. So there are three oven feature. The largest one is 3 meters in diameter, and the two other is 1.5 in diameter. Moreover, we think that we saw many holes and trash, charcoal, and animal bone. Yeah, so this is the oven feature at the site. So this is the artifact, especially the ceramic excavated from the site that date approximately during the prehistorical period. You can see a lot of earthenware, crucible, and ceramic in Angkor period and roof tile. So we also found a metal slag, bronze nail, and gold leaf. So this is the bronze nail and gold leaf. You can see, and the gold leaf were found inside the small bottle. And also we found a lot of animal bone, the phonoremens, and those phonoremens, according to the study by Mr. Wunwuti from Ministry of Culture and Fine Art, they found that there are 22 species that include the animal and turtle and fish, many kinds of fish. So the fish, some fish located in Koh Ker area, some fish located at Tunle Sap area, located about 100 kilometers away from Koh Ker. So we think that there are probably trade connection between Angkor and Koh Ker at the time was still active, even the capital moved there. So this is the diagram of the remain, the phonoremens. So we also pick up some charcoal sample and bone for analyzing in a lab in US at Florida, Beta Analytic Company. So we found the date at the site of KK2 about 6th-7th century, or about 7th to 8th century. Yeah, the KK1 also 7th, 8th century. Yeah, we take the sample from the black area, about 1.2 meters from the surface. And this is the result of the charcoal sample. And it dates from 7th to 9th century. So this is the KK4 area that located around the possible Royal Palace area. So we found some structure like lateral alignment and water drainage system, and also we found the flow that make of brick. So as the excavation is not so large yet, we know that this is some part of the building inside the possible palace structure. So we need more further research at the site to confirm the structure inside the palace area. So moreover, we also collect the sample from the surface in order to understand the distribution of the artifact at the site. So we found a lot of ceramic, mostly located between the Prasat Thom and Royal Palace area. So we think that that is the high density. So probably a lot of activity was done there. So the key point from the archaeological excavation, we think that the early occupation layer in the urban core date from 7th to 8th century. It is dated early before the Koh Ker become a capital in 10th century. So the pottery remain date from pre-Angkorian to colonial period, reflecting the most 1,000 year or more occupation and activity. So the phono remain help us to understand the food, diet, and ecology. So what food and what kind of animal fish that people eat at the site at the time. So the LiDAR image help us to understand the spatial layout and urban organization. So Koh Ker was very important and remain important in the Khmer economy period and after the Koh Ker heyday as the capital. So now I move to the conservation. So as you can see, Prasat Thom, here during the rainy season, a lot of grasses and bush will grow on the step pyramid. So the NAPV team clean all those grasses and put in the bag. And so some structure, especially here, the gate to the Prasat room in the Prasat Thom complex, it looked very dangerous. So we support the wood to protect the gate before reconstruction this structure. So this is another conservation of Prasat Banteay Pir Choan temple that dedicated to Brahma. So we support from the inner and rope with the cable, iron cable. So this is the plan and drawing of the structure of Prasat Banteay Pir Choan before conservation. So we conducted an excavation inside the temple structure, and we found a lot of pieces of Brahma statue, especially the body and the basement of Brahma. We can see a lot of Hamsa around the basement. So this is how to move the stone from the inner to outer of the temple. So this is the reconstruction of Brahma statue. You can see the Brahma statue, it's about 5 meters high, and the width is 2.1 meters. So it lost some part of the leg, and hand, and we still have a head and a body. So this is some restoration project, restoration of elephant at the side, and restoration of the statue from Koh Ker. So not only cleaning and supporting our smaller structure, we also begin to start to clean the larger structure like the staircase our Prasat Prang, Prasat Thom. So Prasat Thom staircase is very decayed. So the Apsara National Authority team and Pravir an APV team collaborate to support the staircase. So before doing that, we pray a ceremony to ask the permission from the spirit and the God from the side to do the work successfully. So finally, we support the work successfully. Like me today, that I did not pray for the God before presentation. That's why there are some problems today. So this is the staircase, yeah, that we support it. The second level, third, and fourth level encounter a lot of problem. So if we do not support, the structure going to collapse. So we design the support and start our support structure at the side. So this is the completion of the support by iron. So we hope that this structure remain long before our intervention, restoration in the near future. So this is the installation of signage at the site by the NAPV. Yeah, we put the sign to show the location of the temple and traffic signboard, yeah, etc. So this is the belief at the site. So even Koh Ker was abandoned, but the people still worship at the site. Not only local people, but also His Majesty King Rajendravarman, the King of Cambodia, worshipping the Koh Ker temple, and also the tomb of white elephant that located at the back of the temple. So this is the local villagers celebrating a ritual ceremony at Koh Ker temple. So with their practice, they believe from the ancient time until today. So this is proposing Koh Ker as the UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2022. So under the criteria 2 and criteria 4. So this is how we prepare the dossier and have a meeting with UNESCO office in Phnom Penh. So this is the map showing about the Koh Ker site in the middle in relation with the other World Heritage Site of Cambodia region like Angkor, yeah, at the south, and Sambo Prikuk. So this is the map showing about the attribute of the significant and delimited boundary of the nominated property and the buffer zone and satellite zone on the Koh Ker site. So the nominated property is 1,187.61 hectare. In the total area of the site, 8,789.43 hectare. So this is the during when we propose at the UNESCO World Heritage, we also compare the Koh Ker site. So this site, the site of Chichen is from approximately 7th to 13th century. It is the one of the largest Mayan city that the second settlement of the Chichen-Itza was built during the 10th century. It's almost the same time with the Koh Ker site that 10th century. And the time of decline of the Chichen-Itza after the 15th century. So it meant almost the same time of decline of the Angkor Empire from the 15th century. And the step pyramid, and so the step pyramid of the Chichen-Itza show about to serve the showcase of ancient life soul during every equinox of the Maya. So this is the similarity with the Koh Ker site, that is the step pyramid, or step pyramid. Koh Ker also aligned to the rising sun of the Khmer New Year. So both the pyramid type of the Cambodian heritage and Mexican heritage show the power and the religious authority. So I hope and I would like to request or propose to the Mexican colleague and friend to help to promote and to vote for Koh Ker become as the World Heritage Site as Chichen-Itza, like Mexican site. And I hope, Koh Ker will pass during the meeting. So this is the proposed information center and visitor center of the Koh Ker site by the APV. So some building was already constructed. It looked a very beautiful landscape at the site. So this is the picture of His Majesty King Rajendravarman II, King of Cambodia, worshipping at Koh Ker. So thank you very much for attention, and I'm very sorry about this inconvenient today lecture.
Muchas gracias, doctora Ea Darith. Sí, una disculpa también por esas interrupciones ahí que pueden haber afectado la comprensión global de la presentación de la conferencia del doctor Ea Darith. Voy a pedir al maestro Fernando Aceves venir ahí en pantalla, aparecer en pantalla para acompañarme en la lectura de los comentarios. Eventualmente, mientras ahí estoy recopilando lo que nos va llegando de preguntas, de comentarios. Hay unos que nos van llegando en Khmer, y ahí eventualmente le voy a pedir a la doctora Keriasun ahí a acompañarme para un comentario ahí. Si no puedo leer Khmer, entonces si nos puede echar la mano en el botón ahí de preguntas y respuestas. Pero Fernando, ¿hay observaciones, comentarios?
Pues bueno, yo tenía una pregunta, que si es cierto que los templos de angkorianos, los templos en Camboya, no tienen cimientos, sino que evitan derrumbarse porque controlan el terreno gracias a las reservas de agua, a los lagos artificiales.
For the question, Mr. Fernando, related to the temple in Cambodia, especially the step pyramid, if we do not build the cement inside the structure, the temple would collapse. So yeah, some temple like Bapun temple, yeah, there are 3 step pyramid. So the heavy structure on the top usually push the wall during the rainy season, because the inner part is the laterite wall and sandstone wall, and the sand were put inside. So when the rainy season, especially strong or heavy rain, so the collapse structure on the part, the water pass through the sand, and then the sand and water push the wall. So the école française extrême orient have to construct the new concrete wall inside the temple in order to protect the wall, and then add the laterite and concrete at the laterite and sandstone from outside. So I think that is the case of Bapun Temple, but I do not see the case in the temple that the structure on the top remain strong.
Yeah, I mean, the question is if the foundation are deep,
yeah.
or is almost just the surface when they start to build the temples.
Yeah, mostly the temple of the step pyramid we do not excavate yet, and we think that probably it deep, but we excavated only some temple structure like a single tower, like the Prasat Prang inside Angkor Thom that was built by laterite. So when the Japanese government team safeguarding Angkor and Apsara authority restore that tower, one of the tower, and we excavated completely the foundation of the temple and reconstruct. So we found that the very deep, and then they build the structure is very strong, especially they add the sand and stone and compact with many layers of sand and stone, and then they build the laterite to make the foundation, and then build the temple on the top.
Thank you.
Could you please explain more clearly about the way of life of the Khmer people at the Koh Ker period to our present time?
ថតស្រីលឺទៀតរបស់ខ្មែរគាត់សួរគឺដែលអាចបញ្យល់គឺការរស់នៅរបស់ប្រជាពលរដ្ឋខ្មែរយើងតាំងពីជំនាន់កកែដល់បច្ចុប្បន្ន
Yeah, thank you. Koh Ker was the capital of Cambodia from 10th century, but after the 10th century, the people still live at the site. Why? Because we can see the prison of the artifact, especially the ceramic from Angkor period until 14th, 15th century. And then we also found the imported ceramic from China from 14th to 18th century. So that's why we think that Koh Ker still people live and practice their own religion at the site. Moreover, not only the ceramic, we also found some temple structure like Prasat Salau. That is the 13th century hospital structure. So it means that in 13th century, the Cambodian rulers still produce the hospital structure there. And then the local people still live and practice their own religion from that time until nowadays. So they still live at the site.
Perfect, thank you. Muchas gracias, perfecto. Ahí tenemos un poco más claro este aspecto. El doctor Sotinkin quería hacer una pregunta, tenía la mano alzada hace ratito, entonces le quería dar la palabra para que hiciera su pregunta al doctor Ea Darith. Adelante, doctor Sotinkin.
Thank you. You hear me?
Yep.
So I just would like to add about the foundation, because I have been digging, excavate the foundation of the Bapun temple. So we dig because Bapun is 11th century, so the foundation is quite wide. So the Khmer temple, as I explained, they dig the soil, and if in the area doesn't have the clay, so the Khmer, they prepare the clay to make a pound, to make a pound like that, and then they fill the sand, pure sand, and this kind. So I dug in what Prasat temple. So it is 11th century. So the foundation is not quite large because they dig just underneath of the temple, and they the same system they fill by pure sand, but the material was used during that time have been mixed. We have laterite and brick and sandstone. So that we have learned that when they use many material, so the foundation is not strong enough, you know. But like in Koh Ker side, I think it's because Koh Ker is near the laterite quarry. I think laterite and sandstone quarry. I think maybe have more laterite because you can see the pavement, the wall built by sandstone and laterite inside. So the laterite is the Khmer use laterite is to allow water penetrate into the sand foundation. And I have excavated in the Banteay Chma that was funded by a friend of Khmer culture. I think I have learned that the clay take a rule to limit the water under the monument. So in the Banteay Chma compound, they divide because Banteay Chma is no river, so they just take the water, the rainwater, and to keep underneath of the temple. And also underground, they use the laterite chip, you know, laterite chip, to allow water. You know, sometimes they build the clay and then they put the laterite chip and then clay again. So that means, and then the sand from both sides. So that means water go from one side and can access to the other side. That we was found. So that is, I think the lesson, from 9th century until 11th century, and then at Angkor Wat side, they can build the perfect, you know, the monument was quite solid, and I think it's the top of the build, the system of the build and architecture, and can maintain the monument, you know, take a long time. So thank you for allowing me to explain that. Yes. Thank you.
Gracias, doctor Sukhin Kim. Fernando, el maestro Fernando Aceves tiene una última, creo que pregunta para hacer a esta sesión, Fernando, quizás porque nos extendimos un poquito, entonces adelante.
Bueno, yo lo que quería preguntarle, doctor Darith,
I
es
wanted to ask you,
¿qué
Dr.
es lo que
Darith,
lo motivó
is what motivated
para
you to
ser
become
arqueólogo?
an archaeologist?
¿Cómo fue ese proceso en su vida?
How was that process in your life?
I don't know.
តារិតមានលឺទេគាត់សួរ
ខ្ញុំ
សួរ
លើ
តារិត
អេស្ប៉ាញ៉ុល
គាត់សួរសតារិតឯងរឿងអីបានជាជ្រើសរើសទៅជាបរណវិទូ
ខ្ញុំមិនស្ដាប់លឺសោះ
គាត់សួរចុះតារិតឯងមិនក៏ជ្រើសរើសទៅជាបរណវិទូ
បាទបាទអរគុណម្ដង So why I choose as an archaeology when I was high school student at Tuol Tempong High School in Phnom Penh, so I learned the history of Cambodia from my teacher. So I really like the history from that time. So when I graduate from high school, I start to study archaeology. Even I do not know yet what is archaeology. But after I study many years to go to field survey, and I began to like archaeology very much, especially from the excavation. Usually we found new objects from the site, so that is the most important, and I like the field of archaeology. Thank you.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Bueno, yo ahí me quedo con también esta idea de que tenemos que apoyar a los compañeros ahí del proyecto Koh Ker para poder promover entonces su candidatura al patrimonio mundial de la humanidad. Entonces vamos a hacer también esto nuestro posible. Me gustó mucho en ese sentido la comparación con
I really like the idea of helping our friends from Cambodia for the inscription of Koh Ker into the World Heritage List, and I liked very much the comparison between Chichen Itza and Mexico, not only in astronomical terms, but also in the construction and the religious aspect. It's very interesting what you are proposing. And in a certain way, we can also establish a comparison of what was made in the pre-Hispanic America with these constructions and religious structures. It's very interesting, as well as the Cambodian history. We finished this session with Dr. Ea Darith. Thank you very much, Dr. Darith. And we also want to thank Keria Sun, who also helped us in the translation from Khmer, Master Fernando Aceves. Thank you very much. We have another session planned for tomorrow with Dr. Yareli Jaidar, who is going to make a great presentation, undoubtedly, about the use of materials, especially from the point of view of science. Master Aceves, some final words. On behalf of La Buena Impresión, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Darith, for such a good conference. Thank you to all the colleagues from the National Authority Apsara, and see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Wow.
Okay.